Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. My name is Olivia. Today's video is going to be a tutorial, get ready with me chit chat on how I achieved this look right here. I asked you on Insta stories if you'd like to see a pink tutorial or a green tutorial, and green won out. So I'm going to be showing you how to achieve this green look right here. If you're new here and you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I would love to hear from you in my comments. And you can also follow me on social media. I'm Olivia Akumu over on Snapchat, Twitter and Instagram. Snapchat, Twitter and Instagram. So make sure to leave my details here and you can follow up. All the details on the look will be down below in the description bar. Leave me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. See you in my next video. Okay, so I'm looking a bit scary. That's because I have primed my eyelids with the LA Girl white foundation. I use the white foundation because it allows me the most colour payoff when I want my eyes to really pop. And I've already done my eyebrows, so I'm just going to go straight into the colours. And so the first thing I always do, and which you should always do, is to put down a transition shade. So I usually do this in a couple of steps, and I do a lighter shade first, working up to my warmer shades. So I'm going to use my Morphe 350M palette, which you've seen before, which is very battered, and my favourite shade up there. I'm going to dip into that and just give a light wash of colour all over my eyelids. So I take that up quite high, up to my brow bone, and I bring it right in and also extend it outwards. Do the same to this eye. Don't worry too much about getting this perfect. You just want to have an even application of colour over most of the eye. Go. Oh, what's that? Okay. Then I want to go in with something slightly warmer. So I'm going to go into another palette that I have, which looks like this. It's called the OPV Gorgeous One palette. I'll make sure to link it down below. I love this one because it has a mix of neutral colours and dramatic colours over on this side. And also it's got a mixture of matte and shimmer, so it's really good kind of standard palette if you like a bit of a mix of everything. I also should tell you, I'm going to go into this rusty burnt orange shade up here. So just using the same fluffy brush, pack on that colour, and then I'm going to take this right here just in the crease transition area, so not as high up as my brow bone, but literally just where my eyelid folds. You can see that just above there. Warm orangey browny colours are perfect for transition shade for most looks. So excuse me. So it's quite a lovely staple colour to have. So if you're looking for an eyeshadow palette and you want it to multitask for you, look to see that it's got something like that kind of a shade which you can use for your transition. The transition will just really help to blend all the colours together so you don't have any harsh lines and you can't see kind of where I've put down one colour and where I've put down another. It helps kind of blend them all together. Really lovely. So I'm using back and forth motions in the crease and then circular motions when I get to the outer V. Take your time with this. Don't rush too much. You really want to make sure that it's blended in properly. The aim of this is to try and get rid of all the product that you loaded onto your brush, and then to help those colours come together on your eye. Okay. I'm going to swap brushes, so from this one to one that's got a little bit of a smaller head, more of a pencil brush, and use this one instead. So now I want to go in and darken up that colour in the crease. So I'm going back to my Morphe palette and I'm going to pick up, oh, should hold it the right way around. I'm going to pick up a mixture of these two colours and then work that into the outer crease. I'm really sorry about my voice, by the way. I've not been feeling too well over the past couple of days and it just seems to have manifested this morning into a really sore throat. So bear with me. Yes, I'm packing in this colour just here in the crease, trying to keep it quite low down, and that's why I've changed brush to a slightly smaller head, because I want to make sure it's more compact and you can actually see the transition of colours. And then to deepen that up a little bit more, I'm going to pick up, this shade right here, mixed in with this shade in the corner. And again, this is just going right on the outer corner. So first off, as you can see, I just like to dab on the colour and then I get into blending it out. Back and get a more slim buffing brush. None of these are clean because I use them all the time, and just help to blend all those colours together so that you don't get the harsh lines from the dark colour. Okay, so that's the base of the eyeshadow done, and now we want to go in with a green. I'm going to use two shades of green. Clean off this brush. The first one is this Yves Rocher, what's this called? Intense Colour Single Eyeshadow in the colour 63, Vert Empire. Green Empire, that is in French, looks like that. It's got a little bit of a metallic shift to it, so it's not completely matte. You can see it there. And then I'm also going to use, from the OPV palette that I showed you earlier, the green there, the popping green there, but we're going to lay that on top of this other green once I've done it, because this one's a little bit brighter and that one's a bit darker. So I'm going to load this onto a flat shader brush. Most of the brushes I'm using right now actually are from the 29-piece brush set that I mentioned in my last video, or in my first video about my glam tutorial. I've blogged about it on the blog, so I'll leave the link down below. But honestly, that brush set is fantastic for if you are getting into makeup and you want to start experimenting with different brushes and what they can do. I really, really do recommend that brush set. So I'll make sure to link it again down below if you're interested in getting it. So I've packed colour onto my flat shader brush, and I'm going to apply this now to, starting from the middle of my lid, working inwards. So you just want to pack that on, so you're literally just dabbing on the colour. Try and keep the colour to the actual lid and don't take it up too high beyond the crease. Gently does it, just take your time with this. There's no rush. Again, I'm just going to mimic the same thing on the other eye. I really was impressed with the quality of these Yves Rocher single shadows. They're not cheap, I can't remember offhand, but as I said, I'll make sure to link the post that I did for the website on my blog below. But the quality of this is great. Really pigmented, shows up on dark skin, and I'm not having to wet my brush. I haven't wet my brush at all for this. Just packing it on with this natural fiber brush. Bring it in now to my inner corner. Okay. I'm going to switch brush now and get a flat synthetic brush. Where are you? Where are you? And for that, I am going to wet my brush. So just do that before I go into the green. In the OPV palette. So just picking up the colour from the OPV palette, load it on, and then I'm just going to lightly tap that on top of the green that I've already laid down from Yves Rocher. Okay, I'm looking at the transition colour in my mirror just here, and I'm feeling like it needs to pop, and it's not popping in the way that I want it to. So I'm going to go into the OPV palette again. You remember before I used this orange shade here, I'm going to get something a little bit more intense. So I'm actually going to mix this orange and this orange. So the top one and the third one down together, and I'm going to just blend that in with a tiny pencil brush into my transition area. I feel like as though the warmth of the brown shadows I used have kind of gotten rid of the look that I want. So I'm just going to go in super gently with a really fine brush. This is the Zoeva Luxe pencil. And then I'm going to need to go in with another brush just to buff that out. When I'm doing a makeup look, I never really fully have a way constructed that I'm doing it, especially if I'm trying out a new look. So a lot of it is just to kind of play around and see how the colours kind of work, and then eventually you get it. Okay. So now I need to work on blending the green into the outer corner because it's still quite harsh. So I'm going to go back to one of my fluffy blending brushes, but one with a small head. And then go back into my Morphe palette and mix up some of those dark colours that I had before. So blend it in on the outer corner again, so you just don't have a harsh line. If I end up getting rid of some of the green, you can just bring that back. It's just kind of like playing around, seeing what can happen. I have picked up a little bit of that warm brown from the Morphe palette just to help that blending on the outer corner with the dark, which looks super pretty now. Okay, and I'm going to go in with a flat synthetic shader brush and which colour? Trying to decide something bronzy. So I'm going to go in with this kind of bronze kind of colour here. It's got slight greenish undertone, so I think that probably works well. I'm going to use that on my brow. I haven't wet my brush because I really want this to be subtle. And just applying that in the arch of my brow really gently. Alright, so that's the eyes for now. We'll come back to them and finish them up. I don't like to do anything like inner corner highlight or under eyes before I've done my foundation, so we'll come back to that in a few. So the first step when I'm doing my foundation is to prime my skin. I am trying out a new primer, which is the God, it's already filthy. The Rimmel Stay Matte Mattifying Primer. I don't know how I feel about this yet, so I am going to keep trying it out, but not today because I'm off to Slay. So I'm going to go back to my trusted primer, which is my Becca Ever Matte Poreless Perfecting Primer. I've reviewed this already, so I'll leave the link down below and you can go check it out. I love this because it's dual function, and it comes out as a white kind of gel consistency like that. So you just want to rub it together until it kind of goes clear, and then dab it in to the areas where you think you'll need it. So I was saying I love it because it works as both a pore refining primer and a mattifying primer. So it does the double job. I do have pores, particularly here around my nose and cheek area. And then I have oily skin in the T-zone, but more like an I-zone because it also comes down to my chin. So I do apply this primer on my chin as well. So I use a kind of tapping motion as well as a swiping motion. And I really do find that this helps to keep my foundation on all day. For foundation today and quite recently, I have been using the black Opal foundation stick. I'm in the shade Creme. It does run a little bit warm. As I've mentioned before, my skin tone is a little bit on the neutral side. It does run a little bit warm, but if I get foundations that are too warm, then it ends up being red. And if I get ones that have got golden undertones, then I end up looking too yellow. So I've got a kind of in-between kind of skin tone. But you have to work with what you've got, and I'll show you how I managed to correct that and help blend it in. When I'm matching my foundations, I match my foundation to my chest. Let me just get up there so you can see. And not my neck. My neck just naturally is darker than my face, so if I match it to my neck, then I look really dark here and then suddenly lots of light. So I kind of play around with it and match myself up to my chest. So this is a really easy, I love these stick foundations because honestly you don't even have to think. So I just swipe it on to my face. And then I get you can use a couple of brushes for this, a flat top brush like this one, or a domed round top brush like this one. I kind of just use them interchangeably, but I've been loving this brush at the minute. Flat top. This brush is a single brush that I bought the last time I was in Manchester. And it's only found in store. I did try and have a look whether it is available online, but it's only found in store. So I can't link it for you down below. But if you watch this space and a few videos from this, I might have some good news for you. So I'm blending this in with just circular motions. And as you can see, when I get to my chin area, I'm actually taking it to the underside of my chin, just so that I don't get a solid line there and you get a little bit of blend. Same kind of thing for my forehead. Circular buffing motions. The great thing also about stick foundation is that if you feel like you need just a little bit more coverage in a specific area, you can totally just go in and do that area without feeling like you're struggling. Be careful around your eyebrows. I always do my eyebrows first, so just be careful around your eyebrows not to wipe them off. Like now I feel like I've messed that up a little bit. Let me just touch that up. There we go. So if I need a little bit more coverage there on my cheeks, I'll take it. When you're doing your foundation, try and make sure as much as you can that you're doing it in natural light or in very bright lights. I'm of course under some studio lights right now, but the window's open and I've got quite a bit of natural light coming in, just so that you can see that you've blended things in well, and you've not got any streaky marks anywhere. So that's the basics of my foundation, kind of done. You can see it's a little bit warmer than my chest, but it's not too far off. Okay, so after you've done your foundation, you'll end up looking a little bit flat because your face is now all one neutral colour, and actually you don't have just one flat kind of colour all across your face. So you need to put that dimension back in, and the way that I like to do that is with highlighting. I don't go too extreme with my highlighting, just because I want it to look quite neutral and natural, unless I'm doing a night out thing, and then I'll go a little bit more dramatic. But for day to day, I try and keep it quite close. So really just like 1 or 2 shades lighter than your regular skin tone. If you go too far, then you end up looking a little bit too dramatic for day wear, especially when you have quite a dramatic eye like I will have done when I'm finished. So the concealer that I'm loving so when I use my cream foundation, which is this black opal stick, I will also use a cream concealer. I won't use a liquid concealer. So the one that I love is MAC Studio Sculpt, and you'll have seen this in my eyebrow routine video, but this one is in the shade NW45. I usually use NW50 on my eyebrows, which is what I did today. So going in with a synthetic flat brush, just sweeping up the product in here, and then I want to apply it onto my face. In that kind of motion. I don't take it right up to my eye. I don't know if you can see that. I kind of just do it just under. We'll blend that out. And then we add a little bit on my nose. And here. And a little bit there. I already have a big forehead, so I don't really use concealer to brighten up my forehead, otherwise it ends up looking even bigger. I will go in later with some setting powder though on it, just to help keep the sheen down, but I typically don't go in to highlight my forehead. So the brush I'm using is the Real Techniques, what's this, contour brush from a Core brush set kit. So it comes with another number of brushes, you can't buy it alone, but I really like this because it has a tapered domed head, so it's perfect for getting in under my eyes. I typically find that when I'm using cream products, I prefer to use a brush rather than a sponge. I just find it easier to blend out and to blend out evenly if I'm using a brush on a cream product rather than a sponge. But if you love a sponge and that's all you have on hand, then definitely go ahead and use it. I just prefer to use a brush. So just trying to blend out some of that product. And as you can see, it really isn't dramatic, very subtle. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see the difference on the camera, but I can certainly see it here in person. So once I've blended that out, then you want to go in and set it. Still trying to nail down which setting powder I'm using, but for the time being I'm using the Black Opal Deluxe Finishing Powder. I don't know whether they've changed the name of this. Black Opal just went through a whole rebranding process, so I don't know whether this is still called this, but basically it's their loose powder, and it's in the shade Medium. So I do actually like to wet my brush just a little bit for this. I'm just using the same brush. And then I tap into the powder and I really tap off the excess, like really tap it off. And then I lightly go in and set my under eye area. nose and those other areas that I've done, as well as lightly setting my forehead where it gets quite oily. I take this actually out to my eyebrows because they get a little bit oily during the day as well. So, set my face. I don't do a whole beiging thing, blah blah blah, so I just go right back in with my brush that I used earlier. And help blend in any excess that was left there. Okay, so now that we've put the light back in, we've also got to put the shadow back in. I like to do this in a couple of ways, and the first way that I like to do it is actually to put bronzer on. Bronzer helps to warm up my skin tone and just make me look a little bit more healthy, and then also helps me blend in with areas like my neck, which are a little bit darker. And then also sometimes I'll go into contour. I don't always contour on a day-to-day basis, but I will always bronze. So for bronzer, I'm using the Sleek Superior Cover Pressed Powder in the shade Woodsmoke. So it looks like that. It's coming up quite bright on the camera, but it is actually quite a warm colour. And a brush that I got from Killimore. I love this brush, I love it. Seriously, it's so soft, picks up colour beautifully. I actually bought a backup to it. If I can still find it and I've got it, I'll link it down below because this brush is legit. I love it for powder, even for blush, and just kind of like blending your face together, all over face powder, everything. So pick up some colour onto this, tap off the excess. And so the first thing I do is just to dab, as with everything, and then warm up. This is just going on the perimeter of my face, around my forehead, and then also into my cheeks. When I've got a dramatic eye look going on like this one, I actually allow my bronzer to double up as kind of like a blush. So I bring it on right onto my cheeks, because I don't want my face to fight with what's going on. And then I put some bronzer on the perimeter of my face down there. So you can see what that's done in terms of warming up my face. So you've got the brightness in the middle, and then you've got some beautiful warmth right there. Not going to go in with any contour today, just not really feeling it, so I'm going to leave it like that. But if you want, you can go with some contour just to cut out your cheeks a little bit more. Love this, love this, love this. So now it's time to finish up my eyes and do my under eye. So I'm going to go back to the OPV palette and into that transition colour that we started out with at the beginning, that kind of burnt orange shade, and lay that down under the eyes. I'm going to work that in from the outer corner, almost to my tear duct, but not. I didn't used to do this whole step of doing my under eyes, but I found that it just helps to bring the whole look together. And now when I don't have anything going on there, I feel quite naked. So I'm bringing that actually quite low. And then back into my Morphe palette, I'm going to mix those three colours, the two warm ones in the middle and this dark one, and then just going to lay that on top. Yeah, so I didn't used to do this step, but I started doing it a few months back, and honestly, it really does help to bring the whole look together and balance out, particularly when you've got a dramatic eye up top, to balance out that look. It is quite subtle. But it makes a big difference. I'm loving this combo at the moment. So this is the NYX Liquid Suede in the shade Vintage, a lovely plummy purple. I wore this to one of my best friend's wedding. Hi Karen. I love this colour. And then I got this matte lip gloss in the shade 01 from the brand Selamy. Really cheap, clearly from Super Cosmetics. How much was this? Like $2.50 or something, really cheap. But the colour combo here is there. So I use this trick I do this quite a lot by using two colours to get a kind of ombre lip effect. The NYX Liquid Suede doesn't dry down to matte instantly, so you have to kind of smack your lips together for that to work. And then I'll use this in the centre of my lip. I don't need to use a lip liner for this liquid suede, but of course you can if you want something more defined and perfect. I actually just go straight in. I love the brush tip on this because it allows you to actually line your lips. See that? Swipe that on. And smack the lips to get that going. So you could just wear it like this, but I prefer to do a little bit of ombre. So I've got this shade and then it's kind of like a peachy nude and dab it on in the center of my lips. And then I slap my lips together. That's how you get that effect right there. So it will dry down matte once it's all fully done. So the final step for me now is to set my entire face. So just going in. Don't have it here. Going in with a big brush just to set my entire face. This brush and this brush are from the same set, so as I said, just keep watching my videos and hopefully I'll have some good news for you soon about those. So that's done, and then finally just to go in with a little bit of Fix Plus to finish off the look. That will help all of the powders come in together. So this is the finished look. I'm hoping that you loved that tutorial. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. And if you've made it this far and you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to my channel. I'd love to hear from you in the comments what other videos you'd like me to film. I have already got a couple more in the works for you, more tutorials. I am hearing you and they are coming. So thanks so much for hanging out with me and see you in my next one. Bye.